I've never trusted the fact that y'all tell your children to find a black woman for safety, but you tell the world black women are violent, angry, and bitter.
Of all the things that have never happened, this has got to be rage bait, right? I've never heard of a single white person telling their children to find a black woman when they're lost. This is some real mammy on the plantation fantasy. What white people actually tell their children is to find the police.
But what does the evidence that I have shown across this video say though?
So I was yesterday years old when I found out that people of other races tell their kids, if you get lost, find a black woman. And wow, I'm not gonna lie, my mama said if I get lost, tell people your name and your mommy's number. But I guess them telling that is me finding a black woman who happens to be my mama, so that makes sense. White people, Asian people, Latina people, if you see this video, let me know. Is that true? Is that something your mamas tell y'all?
So over a year ago, I made a video where we saw this Indian man share how when he was younger, his mom told him and his siblings that if they are ever in trouble, they should find a black woman. And in that video, I shared my reservation for this practice, if I can call it that, where people are out here in the wild telling their children that if they are ever in danger, they should find a black person or specifically a black woman, as in this case. But back to today's video, because this practice is something that white women do as well. Not all, I'll say here, but we have seen white women come online and shared with us how they too tell their children that if they are ever in danger, they should either find a black man or a black woman.
Bruh, do not tell your kid this, because if a kid comes up to me and they're like, I'm in danger, I'm not gonna be an asshole and be like, no, get away from me. But I'm gonna be like, I don't really know what the to do, but I guess I'll stay with you.
So basically, black women are pushing back on this practice and telling white women and the other women and or people out there that are telling their kids this, that they should stop, because what's the actual F, right? Why aren't they comfortable with the people from their community? Why are they pushing this label of take care of my kid for me, if my kid is in danger, help my kid out, on black women or black people?
No, 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 no. Do not come and find me. Find another white woman. Find another white woman. Why find a black person? We probably somewhere out with our kids, nieces, nephews, some other black child. Why do we have to take time from that black child to now focus on the white child? You're still centering yourself. No. And matter of fact, because you know I got stories for days, I'll give you a story. I take my kids to the park. It's a white lady with her two older sons there already, probably maybe 8, 10, and 11. My children are very small right now, or at that time, 2, 7, or 2 and 9. We're there. We ain't got no problems. I ain't talking to her. She ain't talking to me. Another white lady comes with her 2 daughters. We'll say 4 and 2. The little white boy, 10 years old, proceeds to kick this 2-year-old baby off top of a playset. So, of course, the mom with the daughters goes over to the little boy and she's like, hey, don't do that. The white mom of the little boys goes over and yells at the other white mom with the daughters. You don't talk to my son like that. If you have an issue, you come and talk to me. You address me. So then the white mom with the daughters, she's like, you need to teach your son not to be kicking women, kicking girls. Like, what is going on? You don't tell me what you need to teach, what I need to teach my children. These are my kids. You don't tell them anything. And therein lies raising a school shooter. Therein lies raising a school shooter. He did something wrong. But the white woman with the 2 daughters looked at me as if I was supposed to come and interfere in this white altercation. That is not my business. I am not, girl, I'm here. I brought my kids here. I'm just here for the show. I didn't know I was going to get a show when I came, but baby, now I'm here for the show. Stop telling your children to look for black people. Do not look for us. Find refuge in your community. Find refuge in other white women. And if you don't like other white women, then be in community and have conversations with them about why you don't tell your kids to go and find solace in them. Leave us the out of it. No.
Seen this post of this black woman holding this white baby, and then this white lady commented and she's like, I tell my kids all the time, if you're ever in danger, find a black woman. Why do y'all do that? Like why do y'all do that? Like, so then there's other groups asking her, like, well, we'll help anybody. Why do they just need to go to a black woman? And now I want to know, like, why do y'all feel like they just have to go to a black woman? Why they can't go to a white woman? Or if they're in danger, why they can't contact the police? Or why they can't find a Mexican woman or an Asian woman or a white woman? Why do they just have to find a black woman if they're in danger? Why do y'all tell y'all kids that if they are in danger to find a black woman?
You know, that's actually a very good question. Why is it black women specifically that they are telling their children to find if they're ever in trouble or lost? And I'm playing that video to the right of the black woman in the restaurant holding that little black baby because that's the video that she was referring to in her video. And recently, I've been coming across a lot of videos of black women sharing their experiences with this particular practice happening in real life of little white kids walking up to them and saying that, oh, my mom said I should look for a black woman if I'm in trouble or lost, right? And now we are learning that this particular practice could be potentially putting black people, or as the case may be in this video, black women in danger.
I was in a grocery store today where a random white child ran up to a random black teenager. She looked to be about 15, 16 years old, but probably appeared older to him because he looked to be about 6, 7 years old. So he went up to her, grabbed her hand, and was like, Mommy told me to find one of you if I'm lost. Can you help? And this kid, this teenager, deer in headlights, had no idea, looking around trying to figure out what to do. And honestly, I've never trusted that situation. I've never trusted the fact that y'all tell your children to find a black woman for safety, but you tell the world black women are violent, angry, and bitter. Never really trusted that. So I stayed in the aisle, and I'm glad I did, because not even 30 seconds later, here comes his mother with security rounding the corner talking about, why are you touching my child? Black women, if you find yourself in this situation, record everything immediately.
Can you imagine how confused and maybe even scared that teenage girl must have been having to experience this? And it's just so unfair. None of this should have happened. If that woman had, for one, held her kids tightly, like, what were you doing losing your kid, right? And two, you had told your kid if they are lost or in trouble, find a black woman. And the kid did that. I mean, the child in this situation wasn't a woman, is a child, a teenager, right? But to the little boy, he didn't know because the teenager is bigger than him. So yeah, that must be a woman, right? And now you come around and you are talking about how, oh, what are you doing with my kid? Like, it's just so, it's like a setup. It's a setup. This is why, as black people, you really have to have all your senses awake at every single time because you never really know what crazy you might meet that day. The fact that she wasn't grateful at all for the help this teenage girl rendered her taking care of her kid is crazy. And also, when I think about how this could have gone wrong in several different ways for that little teenage girl, because we know how then people have a knack for spinning things, right? And no, I'm not saying that all of them are like this. I'm speaking about the ones who specifically are like this. Historically, they have spun narratives on black people and have black people in trouble, and they were just there like dry, hanging, and scared, not knowing or having a way to wiggle themselves out of the situation because they did not have the means to, right? So I now am even thinking about how, imagine if the reverse was the case, because I've seen a video of a white woman telling her white child that if they're in trouble, find a black man.
What do you do if you get lost?
Find a big black guy.
You find a big black guy, and what do you tell him?
And that I lost.
That you're lost?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd find my home.
Okay.
Imagine now that this particular white woman decides to act just like the white woman in this video, right? She could come and say, oh, this black man had done something to my little girl or to my child. And now the black man is just going to be standing there confused, not maybe having evidence to prove that he did not do anything. And next thing you know, man is behind jail, right? For wanting to help a child that was lost, a child that the mother even said, oh, if you are in trouble or lost, find a black man. And now you do this good thing and you are in trouble for it. Like, it's people like this that ruin this world for the rest of us. It's people like this that make it so sometimes you find someone in need of help out there and you might not even want to help the person because you don't know if helping this person might get you in trouble. And it's just very sad when I think about how things like this, it ruined the world for everybody. It ruined what's the word? Oh, it jades people, it makes people jaded, right? It makes people find themselves in situations sometimes where they could be of help to someone but would intentionally refuse to, because you never really know how this good deed just could land you in trouble. And to be clear, this is not me trying to scare people or discourage them from helping, because I would never do that. I still would help anybody regardless of their race tomorrow if I am in the position to help them, if I can help them, right? But I'm saying this to say that you just have to be careful while you're helping people now, apparently in our world, on planet Earth, while helping, think 1, 2, 3 step forward on the possibility of how things could go wrong, and make sure you are taking the steps and measures, putting measures in place to make sure that you are protected while you are helping. So maybe when you find a little child that needs help, or they are lost or in trouble or wherever, pick the child and run straightly quickly to security, and go stand by the security post or something while you're looking for the child. Stand where maybe there's cameras to see you not doing anything to this child, so you are protected. Make a video like the sister in the video recommended. Just shall make measures, or take measures rather, take the steps to make sure that you are protecting yourself. We can actually help and protect ourselves at the same time, and that's what I am recommending, like the sister in the video recommended that you do, because we cannot say, oh, because these things is happening, you're not going to help anybody. Imagine if everybody decides that, oh, they're not going to help anymore, right? You too might find yourself in a position where you need help tomorrow. And imagine what that would be like or look like if you don't get the help because everybody is scared now, right? So we cannot say, oh, the world is crazy or F up now, let's all just throw our hands up and rest, right? Some of us actually have to do the good. So the world just don't really go to like bottomless pits at this point.
I'm sitting in this car trying to gather myself because the wildest shit just happened to me, and I'm at a loss. So I was just walking. I was going for a jog at the park, and then I started just walking my last couple laps. This little boy runs up to me, and he's like, I can't find my mom. I'm lost. I can't find my mom. And first, like, I'm like thrown the off, because what do you mean? Like, this little white boy, he had to be like 7, 8. He's panicked, can't find my mom. Please tell me for my mom. And I'm like, okay. So we're like backtracking. I'm like, who else were you here with other than your mom? Like, what's your name? What's your mom's name? I was like, what was the last place that you saw your mom at before you got lost? He's telling me all this stuff. So we go back to that location. We're like walking around, and I happened to notice there was a bathroom near that location. So like, I walk inside the bathroom with him. I'm like, call your mom. And he's like, oh, mom. And I'm like, what is your mom's name? And he told me her name. So I'm like, I'm yelling her name, and she's like, yes. She's like, comes out of the bathroom with the little her other kid who's younger, and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, is this your son? And she's like, I'm like, what's his name? And she tells me, I'm like, is this your mom? And he was like, I'm like, cool. So I explained to her, like, your son thought that he was lost, da 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 da. This little boy, y'all, this little boy stops, looks at his mom, and says, mom, you were right. You told me that if I got lost to look for a black lady or a black family. You were right. Excuse me? I was like, what? She was like, my mom told me that if I was ever lost or if I was ever in trouble to look for a black lady or a family. I'm like, what? So I look at her, and she was like, yes, I've told my child since like he could formulate words or thoughts that if he's ever lost or in trouble to look for a black woman or a black family, because he will be fine. And I'm like, that is insane. Me and this woman spent the next 20 minutes talking while her kids were playing, talking about the difference between a child asking a white person or a white family for help versus a black woman or a black family. I had never heard of this.
And the same is true, as evidently I see on my FYP with them social experiment videos. It's majority of the time a black person that's come to the rescue and protect them babies in them experiments. And it's just very interesting. I don't know if it's my FYP that's biased or if my algorithm is just the way it is. So you guys let me know if you see these videos and if the same is true for you at your end. But it's just very interesting. Whenever I come by them videos, I always know, before I even see it, I always know who's going to come to the rescue. And I'm never wrong.
I had never heard of this. She's like, yes, I think every white woman that I know has told their child this. She then proceeds to tell me, she's like, I don't know that black people don't harm children, but I know for a fact that white people harm kids and kidnap kids for fun.
I don't think anybody who watches true crime is going to disagree with that statement. I watch true crime, and guys, she's right on the money with that one. It's eye-opening. Watching true crime was an eye-opening experience for me when I started. Because
I have never, I was at a loss for words. I talk. Like, I didn't even have the words to formulate to explain to her how shocked I was at what she, because, like, I know this to be true. There's never been a time in my black ass life where I have seen a black woman and not thought that, like, in the least she's going to look out. You know what I mean? Like, whether I know you or not, I know if some shit pop off, me and this black girl, we got each other. You know what I mean? I've never doubted that. I did not know that white people knew that. I had no idea that white people knew that black women, like, we're going to take care of. I don't give a who that child belongs to. I don't care that if I've never seen the child. I don't give a if that kid is Asian, white, don't care. I'm going to. I did not know that they knew this. That shit just, it broke my brain. It broke my brain. And I am so glad that I did what I was supposed to do for all of us. Hey, for all my sisters, I passed the fucking test, because that little boy, I'm talking about, he ran up to me and held my hand. I'm lost. I can't find my mom. That white lady said, and here's the crazy part, I don't know if I told y'all this, she didn't even know that her son was lost. Like, she had gone to the bathroom. I told him I was going to the bathroom. He must have not heard her or whatever, but she was not panicked. Like, she was like, my kid was playing. First of all, why the fuck would you go to the bathroom with your one kid, leave your 7-year-old by himself at the park? Like, insane. Insane, but whatever.
What a parent she was. Major eye roll, because who does that? Who leaves their kid alone? Knowing what our world is like, you just leave your kid out there in the wild alone like that. I mean, of course she did that because she's expecting some random black woman to take care of her kid for her, right? Because we're just existing in the world to be taking care of them people's children. Like, it's crazy. And then I started coming by videos of white people that are saying that black people are lying when they say that white women or white people tell their children to find a black person or a black woman when they are lost. I'm going to be showing you guys 2 of such videos, so check them out.
I've never trusted the fact that y'all tell your children to find a black woman for safety, but you tell the world black women are violent, angry, and bitter.
Of all the things that have never happened, this has got to be rage bait, right? I've never heard of a single white person telling their children to find a black woman when they're lost. This is some real mammy on the plantation fantasy. What white people actually tell their children is to find the police.
But what does the evidence that I have shown across this video say though? And I mean, yes, 2 things can be right at the same time. And just because you are not aware of a practice or you haven't personally experienced or seen these things happen, that doesn't make it not true or that it doesn't exist. You have to be able to, as an adult, for crying out loud, get to the point where you realize that there is more to this world than your tiny little bubble. And the fact that he called these women sharing their experiences a mommy fantasy just shows how narrow-minded he really is. And I'm not going to lie, after hearing him say that, that low-key pissed me off. And there was a part of me that thought, you know what, maybe black women should not be helping these little white kids if they need help and approach them in the public, because see what they get from it, right? No thank you. You know, they get called security on them, and now they are getting called mommy and saying that they have mommy fantasies for, you know, having these experiences and helping these little white babies out there in the wild. Like, is it even really worth it at the end of the day? But I had to be, you know, an adult, obviously, and you know, come to my senses and realize that if I promote that kind of thought process, who is going to suffer, right? It's the white child that needs help, or any child for that matter that needs help. So, you know, sometimes you have to be able to move past your emotions and do the right thing. But once again, I would reiterate here that while you are doing the right thing, make sure that you are protecting yourself in the process. Make sure that you are guarding your back.
Get the fuck out of here, little nigga.
And I do 100% understand where you are coming from, sis. I mean, before you would help now and they would not say you have a mommy fantasy for helping their child. Crazy out here.
I was in a grocery store today where a random white child ran up to a random.
So, question, who is going and telling their kids to find specifically a white woman? I mean, a black woman. Get in the comments. I want to see something here. I'm pretty sure she's projecting because she's been through a lot of trauma.
The fact that people lately feel so comfortable to come online and diagnose random people they find on the internet with medical conditions when, one, they are not medical professionals themselves. This one, I don't think she's a therapist. And two, even if you are not her doctor. I don't think she knows her medical history. So for her to come online going off of one video that she don't agree with, I think maybe she's gone through a page. I don't know. But regardless, to come online and be telling a random person that they are suffering from or have a lot of trauma, that's crazy to me. Like, why are you so comfortable doing this? It's crazy that people do this online. Like, what exactly is making people this audacious and comfortable to do this to random strangers that they don't know on the internet?
And she saw a girl at Walmart. I believe it's a true story, but I believe she's projecting and she's saying that child was specifically supposed to look for a black woman because nowhere in her story did that child or anything say that they were specifically looking for a black woman. She just assumed.
She assumed because it's a thing that people do, and we have evidence for this of white women telling their children that they should find a black person or a black woman specifically, as the case may be in this video, if they are in trouble or lost.
And she was like, security, and the mom was coming around the corner, and she got up in her face. She was like, why do you have your child? As a white woman, I expect parents, if I find their child and security, to get up in my face and be like, why do you have my child? I do. Because you were a strange person having my child. Okay?
Yes, to an extent, I do agree with this sentiment because I don't have a child at the moment. But if I have a child and I find my child with a random stranger, I see a random stranger holding my child, I'm going to be like, what are you doing with my child? But then again, I would have to do some inner work and think about what was I doing that my child got missing. I did not know, right, for however long, right? But, back to the story at hand or the case at hand, this particular situation is crazy because that child has said to that teenage girl that my mom said if I'm lost, I should find a black woman. And the child did just that. So for the mom, this white woman, to then come around and be in the face of this little girl, this teenage girl, asking, what are you doing with my child? When she was the one that instructed her child to approach any black woman that the child sees for help, like her flipping the switch like that on that little girl, that behavior right there is crazy and weird. And that's what the conversation is about. So for her to ignore all of that context is just very telling, right? Because she now makes this video on her page, wanting to spin this narrative of, oh, this creator that was narrating the story as she experienced it was being weird or making a situation into something that it wasn't. It's crazy. Like, she's a weird one for twisting this thing around like she did.
And she's over here like, could you imagine like the repercussions that little girl could get for finding that child? Did she? Or are you just projecting because that's what happened in the past?
There are instances when projecting is a good thing. As human beings, there are certain experiences we've had in the past that now resulted in us in the present making informed decisions so that what happened in the past would not happen again. So we are protected, and there is nothing wrong with that. I bet as a lady herself, she doesn't go to the homes of random men that she doesn't know, either because of an experience she's had in the past or because of stories she's heard of women that have done this and it did not end well for them, right? So now she made the informed decision to not navigate life like that for her safety. And that is a good thing, right? Thumbs up for that. I, as a woman too, that's how I navigate. But would we in this instant now say, oh, because I navigate like that for my safety, I am traumatized, or that I am projecting on these men, right? Because of an experience I heard of before? Yes, probably. That's probably what I'm doing. But is it a bad thing though? No. Why? Because as human beings, we pick up on patterns. And if you care about your life and your safety, you are going to, because of these patterns you've picked up on and the experiences you've had or have heard of, you are going to make the informed decision moving forward to protect yourself. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So for her to now in this moment say that, oh, she's projecting, like it's a bad thing to project in this moment, like it's crazy to me. We project as human beings sometimes, and it's not because we are evil people or because we want to paint these people as bad people. It's because it's natural human instinct to pick up on patterns and make informed decisions moving forward. So the fact that all of that went over her head because she cannot relate to the experience, even though she probably does the same thing in her own everyday scene, and she's a woman, as I have highlighted heavily upon in this section of the video. The fact that she could not like connect those dots in that situation and make sense of why that lady said what she said is crazy to me.
So again, I'm going to ask all of TikTok, because I do believe there is a race war going on in this country. I've seen it.
I hate when people use the term race war the same way I hate whenever I hear anybody say gender war. It's as if people don't know the meaning of the words they are using anymore, especially when you look at the situations and it's only one person that is suffering and dying at the end of this quote unquote wars that they are saying that we have. Look at race war that she's referring to, for example, right? It's black people or, POC people in quotes that are suffering at the hands of white people and the systems and structures that they put in place. But you will see these people coming online talking about some race war, like you would think, we are in battle and they are suffering and unaliving just as equally as black and brown people are suffering and unaliving at the knees of their systems and structures. But they'll come online and say it's a race war, like they are getting affected. Like, it's just great to me. And the same thing goes for gender war. Like, who is really suffering in the hands of patriarchy? Who have to fight to have equal rights? Who is experiencing femicide? Like, women are getting unalive to the point at the hands of men, to the point where we now have a specific word created for the kind of unaliving that's happening to women, specifically at the hands of men. Who is living under the heel of misogyny and misogynistic men and the system of the patriarchy? And how does that affect our day-to-day life, where in 2026 they are still researching baldness, male pattern baldness, and they are researching endometriosis? I hope I pronounced that correctly. I find it hard pronouncing that word, right? But that's an example. We are not even really studied medically, so we suffer a lot at the hands of a lot of ailments, because apparently what we go through as women is not that important. As women, we have to fight to be able to vote. We have to fight to be able to get an education. We had to fight to be able to open bank accounts, and women are still fighting. Look at what is happening in Afghanistan, right? They just made it into law that it's okay for men to be able to put hands on their wives over there. Like, we literally have the saying, it's a man's world, existing in every corner of this planet, in every culture. They say this. It's saying that reiterate in our brains since we were little girls growing up that, oh yeah, we are just second-class citizens here. These are some of the things, to mention a few, that women have to go through, right? But we'll come online where we see women complaining about these issues and saying, no, that we deserve a place on earth as well. We deserve to be able to have rights. We deserve to be seen and treated as the human beings that we are, and not be looked at as walking wombs that are just here to serve the purpose of the patriarchy and birth babies for men and their quote-unquote legacies, right? Because some of them don't even know the difference between lineage and legacy, but we're not going to talk about that. But when we see women come online and call out these issues, then you see people talking about how they're angry and bitter feminists and how it's a gender war. Every day they're attacking men and whatnot. And I'm like, do you know the meaning of war though? Like, who is suffering here? So I absolutely, and I hate I'm going on this long tangent that have nothing to do with the video at this point. I mean, it has some things to do with the video, but like, it really grind my gears when I hear people use these terms so willy-nilly like this, like race war. Like, what do you mean by that? Who is warring really? No, there's no race war going on. What we have going on is G-side that has been going on for years now. Black and brown people haven't getting G-side. They're systematically oppressed, and we've been suffering home and abroad at the hands of your people. So don't come online, I'm talking about how it's a race war. Like, no. They use these terms to hide the gravity of what's really going on and make themselves victims, because they don't want to own up to the evils that they are doing across the globe, right? They want to hide under the umbrella of, but we are going through this too. Like, no, the fuck you aren't. No, the F you aren't. Stop lying and pretending like you don't see what really is going on in this world. And I'm so sorry I went on this long bit. I really needed to get that out of my chest, because that really pissed me the F up when I heard her say it. But then again, she looks kind of young, so I'm going to give her some grace. Maybe, hopefully, when she grows up, she's going to know better, do better, and speak better.
Pretty sure this isn't it. I want to ask all the white women who is telling their kids to go specifically find a black woman. Let me know in the comments. I won't judge you. I just want to see something. Because I was always taught to find a woman, never a man. And if that happened to be a black woman, that happened to be a black woman. And then that child was probably taught to find a woman. And guess what? The child did. But now that another woman saw it, now it's a whole thing on TikTok. So I'm not trying to dismiss her. I'm trying to see what she's talking about because I don't believe her. But I believe she believes it. I don't think she's intentionally starting trouble. I don't. But I also don't believe it's true. Because we were always taught to go look for a woman, not a black woman. Jesus Christ, you guys make everything about race and then you complain that you're always being, what's it called? Not profiled.
Funny how they spin this narrative and say, oh, it's black and brown people that's making everything about race, when actually they are the ones who start making everything about race. They are forefathers and they keep up those systems till this day. Even in Africa, it's the same thing. Right? Because recently we saw a situation where in Senegal, then people had gone over there and they opened an establishment where they only want themselves there on the continent of Africa, guys. Like, it's just crazy how they always throw stones and hide their hands. Like, they were the ones who created this system or the structure of race and the racial categories and whatnot. They were the ones who started, segregating and saying this is white people fountain and this is black people fountain. Even in South Africa, they have benches that said white people, you sit over there, black people, you sit over there. Like, you guys started this. So when they come around and say, oh, you people make everything about race, like, my goodness. It's just very, you know what, let me let the rest of the video play.
What's the word I'm looking for? You always feel like you're being discriminated against, and you are in a lot of situations. But are you really gonna sit here and get online and be like, I'm tired of us black women always having to save the day? Like, this little kid came up to this other person today, and heaven forbid she was black who came and saved the day. How dare the kid do that? How dare the kid go and find someone to help? How dare they?
Very interesting how in the entire video she intentionally ignored the parts where that sister said that the little white boy in question had told that teenage girl that my mom said that I should find specifically a black woman. She said that little boy said that. But she threw all of that away because she doesn't want to accept that part of the conversation. She's like, no, I'm going to ignore that because it doesn't fit the narrative that I want to spin in my video. And of course, if you go into our comment section, there are a bunch of white people there saying, I've never in my life, and anybody say this, or they just be lying, they just be saying anything, they just be this, that, and the third. When we have evidence across social media of white people doing this, if she had gone to her search engine there on TikTok, or rather this search engine there on TikTok, and typed white women asking or telling their children to look for black women or black men or black people, you would find videos, comments of them saying this. But of course, no, she doesn't want to accept none of that, right? Because that would not help her point, the point she's trying to make in this video. And you know what, guys? I just want to bring this conversation with you guys. And as a matter of fact, to be honest, these videos from these two white people are the reason why I actually made this video, even to combat and expose these obvious lies, this intentional denial of the facts that we have in front of us, the evidence of, what it is that white people, and, citing the Indian guy from the beginning of this video, apparently even Indian people, non-black people are telling their children to do this. So I want to come online and add my voice to this conversation and say, yeah, this is happening. Don't let anybody gaslight you to think that maybe what you experience in real life, for those black women who have experienced this, don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking that your reality isn't true. Right. And if you want to continue helping as a good person that you are, kudos to you. Protect yourself while you are doing it.
The thing nobody is saying about this whole find a black woman discourse is that what you're basically saying is that you don't even trust you. Not just that, you are saying that the people you trust the most in society are the ones you do the absolute dirtiest. I have been having a lot of discourse lately about black women and my stance as a black womanist. And that stance is that I am here on this planet to uplift and be uplifted by black women. I am, in my food chain, black women come first. Now, that being said, black women and their children and, families and the structure that helps to uplift black women is the structure that I wish to uplift. That being said, I am also a recovering people pleaser. I am formerly employed in childcare, but also I have been a caretaker. I have given a large portion of my life to the care of others. All that to be said, don't tell your children to find me in a crowd, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not that I don't want to help your child, and it's not that I haven't helped lost children many times in the street. That being said, if you don't even trust you, you are putting me in danger to protect yourself. And I'll tell you why. Because all too often, we don't talk about the idea that black women, when it comes to civil rights and equality and whatever, y'all only think of men as the hallmark of Black Lives Matter. You think of black men's bodies, you think of black men's incarceration rates, you think of black men's everything. They are at the fore of your mind when it comes to both civil rights movements and, was he still there? Yeah. The civil rights icons that we remember. You think of men first when it comes to the cost of these things and the hallmarks and the sounding cries. But when it comes to saying her name and the fact that black women are also in these streets, but also forgotten and still leaned on and expected to play mammy, even to the point of, you don't know what's going on with me, but you are telling your child to find me in the street. You don't know if I am lost, you don't know if I am in distress, and you don't know if I might need help. But you feel it's comfortable, it's good for you that if something happens, you are going to seek me out. And not for nothing, when I say you, I also mean you as adults, because I have definitely been in way too many positions when I am going to the airport early, because I have real bad anxiety and I like to get to the airport like 6 hours early for my flight. I'm one of those people. I have shown up 12 hours early to a flight, and I will be sitting alone in the airport minding my business, and people literally come up to me and tell me what intimate details are happening in their life. It doesn't matter if I am obviously engaged in something else. It doesn't matter if I'm wearing headphones. It does not matter. People, if I am alone in public, come up to me and tell me what they are doing, why they are traveling, what's on their mind. People offload and expect emotional labor from me since I was a child. So again, I ask, when the black woman is lost, who does she turn to? And I'll end on this. I have been in enough emergent situations to know that if I am in need of assistance, I am SOL most of the time. I am hopeful that I have phone service and that a black woman is nearby. But I guess you know how that feels. And it's weird that you don't trust you if your child is lost, but it's okay for them to trust me. But if you round a corner and you see a large black woman holding your child, tell me that a little tickle of fear doesn't creep up your throat, that I'm trying to steal your baby. Because I've had that shit happen too. And that's why you should like and follow more black creators.
And on that note, I'm going to be bringing this video to an end. Let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are. Have you experienced this yourself in your day-to-day life? Share with us in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there. Have an amazing weekend. And of course, as always, I'll be catching you in the next one.
I understand because black women are literally mother and mother. But it's like, at the same time, why do black women... why are black women so unprotected and so slept on? And why are they so constantly disrespected and credit not given? If you telling your kids, if you get lost, find one. Bitch, you find them too. I don't know. I just feel like it's giving mammy. It is giving mammy. The more I think about it, it's giving mammy. And please be gracious with me if this is something that you always knew. I'm just now discovering this. So all these thoughts are running through my head. But it's definitely giving like, oh, find you a black woman. She'll definitely bring my child back to safety and nurture them, even though it's not their responsibility. And even though they expected to be superwoman and get none of the credits of being superwoman, still find one. I don't know. It's not giving complimentary the more I think about it. Now, I will say, like, when my phone got stolen last year, the only police officer who truly cared to go the extra mile to do their job was a black woman the night of that incident. Like, she was like, all right, we finna go back. We finna search on the ground. I had literally asked the officer, like, can we go back? Can we search where my phone was stolen? Can we search for it? The officer, who was a white man, was like, no, we cannot. But I went back to the station, and there was another officer at the front. She went with me, and she looked too. So I don't know. Oh, this is some new shit.